Hey, welcome back to my element. I'm going to show you around, show you what I've built out, and as you come to live in it for a little while, you'll find things that you don't like about it. And if you were going to build this sort of a thing for yourself, here's some things I didn't like, and maybe you won't either. We'll start off with the base. I thought that wasted space is kind of gross, you know, like if you have a bed, you should have it elevated off the ground and you should have space underneath. I've got like maybe a foot of space underneath here, but wouldn't you know it, I really never ever used the space, or if I did use the space, it just never got used again. It became kind of like the junk drawer closet of space that never really gets used. Having to find the perfect parking spot because I can't sleep on anything that isn't perfectly level because I'm on a bed that makes me feel like I'm falling out of it. You know? And how much is that feeling worth storing the things underneath my bed? And I could have made it a full bed, but then I wouldn't have had a space to put my feet, and I thought that was important. I didn't want to be sitting pretzel style all the time cooking my food, which I can't even cook. But, you know, you live and learn and you make iterations, and that's what life is, really. Oh, I think I'm going to like this job, you know, and then the reality hits the fantasy of what you thought it was going to be. And I don't know how, for some reason, this wood feels hard and sleeping on the ground feels softer. Sleeping bag, still a great idea. I roll it up every day, put it right there. Fantastic. Works for nights. This is nice too. Then you take it out. You can wash it. You know, it's got two different pieces of foam in there. Also, if I get into the car here, this was nice. I wanted to cut a space for my feet, you know, so I could sit here and cook or work on my table, which is too small. If you plan on putting something in your car, you know, I would say measure it first. I didn't do that. So I wanted this to be for a stove, but the stove is too big. So I can't put the stove on here. Especially when you're working with fire or food or things that are hot. You'd like to, you know, you'd like it to be able to fit on there. Don't really want to cook outside either because it seems like everyone comes over to watch what I'm doing. I'm just like, oh, come on. You know, I want to cook in peace. I kind of like privacy, you know. If I were to do it again, I would have it to this side, which I do plan to do. That way, you open up a window, and then you don't get all the heat stuck in your car. All the heat and all the smells can get trapped in your car. If you open up a window right next to where you're cooking, or you open up the door slightly, you'd be fine. But there's no real way for the stuff to get out over there. It's kind of all pushed into the backboard. What do you know? A table that fits the stove and space underneath for all my cooking supplies. And a space for the feet. And a space for myself. Next, we've got the battery pack, which has been great, but you need to size your battery pack for the appliances you're going to be using. You know, if you need more than you have and the sun can't give it to you because it's cloudy out for a couple of days, you're going to have a problem, you know. And I would recommend, if you were going to go in the Yeti direction, to get one with the Anderson power pole, because this 8mm is always falling out when I'm on the road. If I'm charging it from the car's inverter or I'm charging it from the sun on the road, always falling out. It's very frustrating to know that you just drove a couple of hours and you didn't use any of the energy to power your power pack. I wish I had a power pack that was big enough to use a microwave. It could literally take 2 minutes to cook food and I could be fine. I don't have to spend an hour cleaning pots and pans. Depending on what you need, you know, my computer is a power hog because I do edit YouTube videos, so it does eat up lots of power. And the sun is not always available, you know. The sun is behind clouds, and once that happens, you're out of power, you know. This is the Yeti 3000 that can run a microwave. Give it a couple of seconds. There we go. We've got a microwave that works. How sweet. The 8mm ports don't come out that much either. They must have fixed the problem because they sit nice and snug in there. I think they even snap in place, which is really nice. This little piece not enough. Things always falling out. You know? So, bigger lip on your thing so things don't fall out. Bigger lip, or a actual door. I was using zip ties sometimes. Not zip ties. What are they called? Bungee cords. The next thing I would say is the fact that I didn't think that I needed a fridge in here. It gets hot in the summer, and it is very, very enjoyable to have a cold drink. It's kind of like one of the worst things to when you're sweating and you come into your car and you have a warm drink. That is just gross, especially if you just finished a run. Oh, let me have a warm drink. You know, it's really the little things, like being able to stand up in your car when it's raining, you know, or having a cold drink on a hot day. I would say just don't go to where it's hot, you know. I think it was the worst idea I've ever had to go to Minnesota in June. It was, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think I was thinking, actually. Having cold stuff in your car, very good. But I says, this thing already can't run my laptop. It's definitely not going to run a fridge too. So having enough solar, knowing how much power you need before you buy the power system itself. It can also run a fridge. This is the Iceco J40, I believe. JP40 maybe. This thing is pretty large. And it holds a lot of stuff. It's good. It doesn't use that much power at all. And even if it did, this thing can hold it because it's a freaking beast. Like 7 times bigger than that one. And I still have that one, so I could also use that. You know, I'm going to show you all this stuff in the future. This is just a little teaser to get you subscribed, son. There's a lot of space that I could use underneath the bed, or underneath the storage system here, that is being wasted by these braces put in these spots. And I personally, you do not need this much bracing. I figured safer was better than sorry, but this is just overkill, you know, especially when it's being held in place with the little grippy thing up there. It's not going anywhere. Basically just put my shoes underneath there because it's just so, you know, you see how the brace just kind of cuts any available space from being used in there? This is the new build idea, but the old idea was only this wide. This is a foot wide. I'm gaining a lot more space and kind of killing all the dead space by just building up over the bumps. See? You've got, I think this is a wheel well right here. The spot where you used to put the car seat. And by doing that, building up over it, not only do I get all the space that's underneath and nothing is interrupting that space, no unnecessary braces in weird places that make the space unusable. I can now use the entire underneath, and I can use most of the top, not just half of it. So I'm very happy with that. You can fit 19 inches here if you build this up 14, so that's an idea for you too. Jetboil is great for cooking water and doing things. No problem with the Jetboil, you know. Jetboil is really nice to cook really fast. Although the packs that it uses can be a little hard to find, so if you can find them, buy a couple of them because you never want to run out of them. These little guys, you know, they're not carried everywhere. Walmart doesn't carry them. It's like a special camping store place that you have to get these from, like a REI or what have you. So if you can find them, buy a couple of them. Now the top box is a great place to store a lot of garbage, you know, dirty clothes if you're not using them, but it's also a great way to tell everyone you live in your car, I think. So, you know, depending on how much of the stuff you actually need, you know, like when's the last time I rode this unicycle? Do I need it? You know, and I don't know how much attention you want to be calling to yourself, especially to the police, who for some reason have a vendetta against people sleeping in their car for whatever reason, you know. I mean, I get it, but like, who am I hurting really? I don't think I'm a nuisance, but I'm biased because I'm me. So, not to mention that it blocks half of the skylight, and I think I'd like to see all the stars. Definitely like the idea of more intentional use of the space. Just because you have space to put garbage doesn't mean you should, although I do think that's what happens anyway. I think that would be a much better space for me to put solar panels up so I don't have to really worry, in a sense, that I won't have power, because how often do I really go in the box? And if I do need space, I was thinking about a little hitch, diamond plated box in the back of your car here, you know? That way I can use both. And maybe a little bit more trust for humanity. Just because I have a solar panel on my roof doesn't mean I'm going to get robbed. Okay? And I'm also building a tiny house out of pallets. So subscribe for that too. That sounds interesting, huh? Your boy's moving out of the car and into the country where he can stand up. I don't know how important it is for somebody to stand up, but it might be important enough to spend the money on it. You know, if you were going to get into a car and they were similarly priced, you know, you do save a bit of money on gas. You know, this thing can get 25 miles to the gallon, and maybe the ProMaster can get 17. But if that trade-off is, you know, worth it for you, but to myself, I say, is standing up inside really worth $20,000 and all that money, me losing my freedom? You know, no. But, you know, my car's fine. It just needs a new iteration. And that's what I'm going to work on, you know. And I hope you follow me in that iteration. And I thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you later. Everyone's an artist of life. Why not make it a masterpiece? I think it's freaking fantastic.